what America was and what it can become. This is Liberty Town Hall.
Thanks for being here today at Liberty Town Hall. We are grateful that you took the time to spend with us. That's Glenn Wilson. I'm Greg Marshall. Appreciate you being here today because we've got a very interesting conversation coming up, Glenn, and it's going to be a powerful one. We're particularly looking at what a second Obama administration might look like based on what historically we've already seen in the last 4 years, and I think it's pretty interesting to say the least.
Still, 4 years later, I don't understand how it cannot be any personal ownership involved in this at all. It's like the Benghazi issue. It's like water off a duck's back. He doesn't have to take responsibility for anything. And yet, here we got how many new taxes that he's poured on? He's crushing businesses, and he's blaming it on the Bush administration for the economy still. I don't think he understands that the wealth producers don't want to risk putting any money into this economy with all these uncertainties. You got the Obamacare, and I can use Obamacare because he said he likes that name. So
yes, so he gave us permission.
He gave us permission to call it Obamacare, right? So how do we get him to understand that he's crushing America? I don't think we ever can. I think
I totally disagree with that statement.
Oh.
I think not only can we, I think he already knows it.
So you think
I'm
this is
convinced
intentional?
this is intentional. There is no way you can keep doing the same things to just make things worse and worse without having a reason for it. Now, that is my belief. I have an opinion to which I'm entitled.
Well, I believe that his term has been focusing on payback. He's been paying back the unions. He's been busting contract after contract. He's handed out bailout after bailout to the people that support him. Look, right on down the line, you've got Solaris. You've got all these grants that they've got and federal loan guarantees that have shifted the burden of his whimsical stuff onto the taxpayer. And so businesses are sitting back there looking at such irresponsibility. They're worried about when it's going to stop. So a second term, I think, would be the death nail to a major part of capitalism here.
Well, I think that's the goal. There's way too many people that I've talked to that have said to me, and we're going to hear about it in the interview today when I talk with Chris Hall, the author of The Big Picture, as he discusses what the second term is going to look like. I mean,
he's wrote a nice book about this, laid it all out.
900 pages.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Big reference book.
It's a big reference book. You can sit there and flip through it and, well, yeah, that happened. Yeah, that happened. And so it's not like it's even in question. These are facts, and they're all laid out in this book. So I'm really interested in watching that interview.
I'm looking forward to it too. It's some very powerful stuff that we're going to be getting into with Chris, and I think it's something that's worth your time in watching. I sure hope you'll continue to spend some time with us about it. A lot to talk about today, and we're glad you're a part of it. I'm Greg Marshall. That's Glenn Wilson. We'll be back with more Liberty Town Hall.
Tired of faded bumpers, foggy headlights, weathered, sun-damaged vehicles? Introducing Wipe New, the world's longest-lasting solution for restoring and protecting your vehicle. And we guarantee it to last for years. We applied Wipe New to the driver's side of this vehicle. We then sent this car through over 100 powerful car washes. Wipe New never faded or washed away, proving that the results will last for years of real-world environmental exposure.
I don't think I've ever seen it, Brandon. I got it about 2 years old, and I've never seen it shine like this.
Don't spend a fortune on temporary fixes. Order now and we'll double the size. That's enough for 2 cars. There's still more. Order now and get the Pro Detailing Kit with the headlight applicator bonus. Just pay separate shipping and processing. Order now and get it all, plus a 2-year guarantee.
To get your Wipe New detailing kit, call 1-800-481-5617. Wipe New comes with a 2-year money-back guarantee and is not available in stores, so call 1-800-481-5617 today.
Hey, it's Liberty Town Hall. Appreciate you being here today. And I'm with Chris Hall. He is the author of The Big Picture. He's also an attorney, been involved in politics for many years. Hi, Chris. How are you, sir?
Hey, Greg. Good to be with you.
I appreciate you doing so. It's good talking to you. Chris is in Oregon right now, and we're chatting with him a little bit. Now, how did a guy from Georgia get to Oregon? I'm curious.
It is just gorgeous here. I'm sprouting my Oregon beard right now. You can see the beautiful Cascades maybe behind me in my messy office, but it is just absolutely gorgeous here. So that's how I ended up here.
I thought it was pretty in Georgia, and boy, that does look like a nice panoramic you've got going.
It really is nice.
Well, from there, what got you involved in politics? Because that's something all of us at 5 years old, we all want to be firemen or astronauts, and girls want to be princesses and ballerinas. There's usually a point or a series of points that gets us interested in the political scheme. What was yours?
Well, I was sort of around it my whole life. When I was a little kid, I remember seeing Newt Gingrich actually do little appearances in my basement, and he would have these meet and greets that my parents would have for Newt Gingrich or people like Bob Barr. And I had just been volunteering on political campaigns since I was about 12, so it's something I've always been around.
From there, let's talk about and bring it into current time. What do you think about this current president?
He doesn't have the character, the capacity, the aptitude, or the judgment to be president of the United States, in my opinion. So I think that sums it up pretty well.
I think it does too, absolutely. What brings you to that conclusion? Obviously, you wrote a big book. When you say the big picture, you're meaning almost literally as well. I mean, this is what, a 900 and some page book?
Yeah, it's about a 900-page book, and one of the things that I do, this is one of the things that I do, is I go through chronologically day by day, and I just talk about certain things that the Obama administration has done, and I try to tie it all together so that and just sort of show parallels. For instance, most people now are talking about Libya and the administration's cover-up, and I go through my book and I show that this is a pattern that has repeated itself over and over again, like we've seen it in the Gulf oil spill already, where the president first of all, he's cheerleading failure. He's talking, we were all over the Gulf oil spill from day one. Well, he didn't even acknowledge there was a problem until day 9. And that's how it is now with Libya. Well, what was he doing at the very beginning? We don't even know, besides telling the CIA to stand down, besides just dithering, as he has time and time again. It's one of his recurring patterns of his administration.
What is going on with some people? I mean, Benghazi, I think I agree with you. I think the oil spill should have grabbed a lot of people's attention in his inaction. But what in the world? I've got people, when we were talking about Benghazi the other day on Facebook, I had several come back and say, what's your sources? Name your sources. What are you talking about? What do you mean he hid things? I'm like, are you kidding me? This many reported sources, and you're asking that question as if it wasn't even so? I mean, what do we have going on here? Is this some form of Obama worship almost?
Well, yeah, and people are asking you to name your sources. Well, your source should be the most transparent White House in history.
That's what we were promised, and now I'll name George Bush too, the younger. We were promised that out of his administration. Neither one of them really showed up on that one.
So why is it that we are accidentally stumbling upon information that reporters just happen to find in a diary at the crime scene? That our own FBI hasn't even been to yet. I don't expect President Obama to be perfect or anything like that, but wow, just for him to come clean every now and then, I think that's a reasonable expectation.
How in the world is this still? I mean, he's still at 45% popularity with this kind of stuff going on. I mean, I'm just amazed at that. I mean, I'm not the biggest Mitt Romney apologist by any stretch, but I'm just amazed that President Obama has just really doesn't go under the kind of scrutiny and the microscope, even in the second term, that you would expect. I mean, talk about the big media being in his corner. To me, there's little argument about it, at least anecdotally, in how they act.
Yeah, I've always been a little bit suspicious of polls. And in fact, one of the things that I think that they should say in polls is that if they say 51% of the people support the president or something, what they should actually say is 51% of the people who had nothing better to do than talk to an absolute stranger on the phone last night, believe such and such. But all of these polls and elections since Obama was elected have been referenda on Barack Obama. The Republicans won big in New Jersey. They won big in Virginia during those governorships. And they won by much greater margins than the polls indicated. So I'm wondering, I'm suspicious if these polls are even accurate. Will Obama get, absolutely kicked out of office, or will he be voted out of office, or will he keep a second term?
That's a very good question, and it's definitely brought to mind. I mean, I had a poll one time years ago. CNN called, and the phone was handed to me immediately, and they didn't even tell me who it was. And I said, "Hello, hi, this is so and so. We're with CNN and whoever they were partnered with at that time, and we're conducting a poll." I'm like, "Oh, okay." The only time in my life I was polled, and the more and it took about 10 minutes, but it was like, Chris, I'm telling you, I've sat there thinking, I'm in the broadcast industry. Of course I'm going to do this for curiosity, but the average person would never sit here and listen to this. I mean, who are the people they're even talking to? So, I mean, just to support what you were saying.
They are. There are people, I guess, who are taking a break from Home Shopping Network or something like that, so I'm very suspicious of the validity of the polls to begin with.
One of the thoughts Chris has been talking about, and I want to talk to him when we get back in the next segment, is why he thinks America cannot afford a second term from this president. Let's get into the details and the meat of the matter when we come back. This is Liberty Town Hall.
That leaky roof will cost you thousands in repairs, and gushing gutters can destroy your home's foundation. Phil Swift here for Flex Seal, the easy way to coat, seal, and stop leaks fast. Flex Seal fills cracks and holes, stopping the toughest leaks, remaining completely flexible. Flex Seal is actually liquid rubber in a can. To show you the amazing sealing power of Flex Seal, we replaced the bottom of this boat with a screen door and covered it in Flex Seal. After a day on the water, the inside is completely dry. Don't call a repairman, that'll cost you thousands of dollars. You can get Flex Seal right now for just $19.99. Flex Seal is perfect for roof repair and basement leaks and so much more. But wait, we're gonna double your order. That's twice the sealing power for only $19.99. Just pay processing. Call now.
To order Flex Seal, call 1-800-772-0037 or order online at getflexseal.com.
Back with Christopher Hall on Liberty Town Hall. Chris, I appreciate you being here. Chris is the author of The Big Picture. It's a 900-pager. Yeah, it's going to take more than just an afternoon, but I think you're going to find it worth it. And go check it out. It's bigpicture2012.com is his website. Chris, one of the things that you've been espousing of late is that you don't think America can afford a second Obama administration. Why do you say that?
Well, no, I definitely can't afford a second term of the Obama administration. He's shown that I think he's unconstrained by reality as far as what it is that he wants to do. He's never passed a budget, for example. I don't know how much longer we can continue to run the largest budget in the world without a budget. That's an example. And another thing, we were talking about this earlier, what would a second Obama term look like? What would Obama do with a second term? And the answer is he would do whatever he wants. I mean, look at all these czars in charge of everything, of all sorts of extra constitutional duties. And Barack Obama basically is going to get whatever he wants. If he cannot get it through open process, he's going to circumvent it. And the examples we were talking about was cap and trade. He couldn't get cap and trade through Congress. So what did he do? He circumvented them and went around with the EPA, who's now regulating carbon dioxide and farm dust, for crying out loud. He couldn't get Union Card Check through Congress, so he made these recess appointments. He couldn't get Donald Berwick through Congress, a guy who said that excellent health care is by definition redistributional. And so he made a recess appointment. There's plenty of other examples where whenever Barack Obama doesn't get what he wants, he just tries to push his agenda through other means.
Well, and the power of the executive order as well, which ties in with these things. I mean, it's just incredible how Congress has allowed him to circumvent them time and time and time again. But even though Congress is not really fighting this president on anything, even the other side of the aisle, look how they passed the National Defense Authorization Act and then used examples. I talked to different people in command and control in Congress who have sat here and told me, well, before that passed, well, you know, we've got to pass this. I mean, I had some powerful congressmen tell me it's okay, and the FBI told me it was okay. You got to believe them, don't you? No, I don't have to believe them. I don't have to at all. When I read it with my own eyes, Section 1021 and 1022 is frightening. And with Joe Lieberman pushing that push through the Senate to allow the executive branch at their whim to remove citizenship from Americans at the whim of the executive, that's just, you put those two together, and that's just terrifying what they could do.
Well, yeah, you also have an executive who's willing to use drones to bomb and kill American citizens without due process.
And not just in foreign countries. There are going to be 30,000 drones from various law enforcement agencies, some at the federal level, some down to the local level, all over the United States within the next several years. They're doing a massive rollout. I mean, we thought the police state was bad with cameras everywhere. We haven't seen anything yet.
Right. Yeah, I know. And Barack Obama is definitely has a willingness to use these things too. If you look at Eric Holder's, at his Department of Justice, they are absolutely against your idea of having any privacy rights. You know, and it plays into, you know, Eric Holder is another good reason why we can't afford a second term of Barack Obama. You know, he never even read the immigration law that he went against. You know, he's stonewalling on Fast and Furious. He's just as he stonewalled on coming clean about how many attorneys who represented Gitmo detainees work at the Department of Justice. You know, he's another example, and he has been arguing in federal courts around the country, you know, about you know, invading your right to privacy, coming onto your property and attaching a GPS device to your car and things like this. So this is a government that is definitely expansive when it comes to your personal liberties.
What are we talking about when we talk about this president? I mean, is he, to me, I think he fits the definition of at least a socialist. There's some that would even go off and say communist. I mean, are we wrong in thinking that?
No, I think you could say Marxist and pretty much capture all of it that way. You know, he has a view of government being involved that is far beyond what Americans traditionally believe is the proper role for government.
Do Americans still believe that's the proper role of government is through capitalism, though, is a question. You wouldn't believe how many people I've had approach me in the last year or so, and I'll give a typical conversation. Greg, we're not talking about Russian communism and Bolshevikism. We're talking about socialism like Europe does. That's the kind of socialism we want.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, that's almost like, yeah, I mean, it's going to end up bad. Just because Europe is doing it in slow motion doesn't mean that it's anything for us to follow.
Yeah, and think about it. I mean, it's worked well for Greece, hasn't it? Boy, Spain's a wonderful place being tied into socialism. My goodness, it's just amazing how some people aren't getting the situation. Chris, give your website one more time so people can get a copy of your book and learn more about what you're doing.
Okay, it is bigpicture2012.com.
Bigpicture2012.com. It's a big read, but it's worth your time, and it's economically priced too for 900 pages.
Yeah, it's more of a reference book. You just sort of skip and flip around in the book and find things as you need them.
Sounds fair enough. I'll need to get one on my desk too. Chris Hall, thank you so much for being here. Please come back.
Okay, thank you very much, Greg.
Glad to have you here, and we'll be back to close up this Liberty Town Hall.
Are you behind on your mortgage payments? Could your house go into foreclosure? Does it seem like the bank has no interest in helping you save your home and you feel like you have nowhere to turn? Then we have good news for you. American Foreclosure Service. American Foreclosure Service can help save your home. We specialize in foreclosure assistance, and that's all we do. If you're behind on your mortgage payments, being threatened with foreclosure, have been denied a loan modification, or been the victim of a predatory loan, it's critical that you call American Foreclosure Service now. American Foreclosure Service has a network of attorneys, and our agents are available to speak to you now. Remember, if you're behind on your mortgage payments, American Foreclosure Service can help stop the foreclosure process. Call today before it's too late. New laws are in effect that may save your home. So call American Foreclosure Service now.
Call 1-800-541-7739 now.
Well, as the election season closes, we had a lot to think about tonight, and I'm glad that Chris Hall came on board and gave us an opportunity to really think it over and put some sense to all of it, kind of basically lay it on the table a little bit. Remember, his website again is bigpicture2012.com if you want to check out more. Glenn, I'm telling you, this is just
Greg,
scary.
This is a strategic plan.
Yes, sir. It has every appearance of being.
If you listen to President Obama exactly 4 years ago almost, well, in a few days plus or minus here, he said we were 5 days away from fundamentally changing.
Transforming.
Not
to correct you, but just to add to.
Absolutely, fundamentally transforming America. And he has executed that agenda flawlessly. He has destroyed a lot of our key allies' relationships around the world. He has flooded our economic situation all across the country with fake dollars coming out of the Federal Reserve like cotton candy. If you look, there was quantitative easing that was just done, QE3. We lost
Which is devaluating the currency.
Right, we lost $6 trillion in our assets. In the opening monologue to the show, I took a snapshot of the U.S. debt clock, and I showed we're a rich nation with $93 trillion. Now that was right around 9/10, 9/11, and then on 9/13, when the Fed kicked us in, all of a sudden we lost $6 trillion in the private sector homes, our homes and everything else. The Fed just took it right off there, and nobody even noticed it. But the cost of gas has gone up. I think he is trying to bankrupt America. I think it's a goal.
I doubt he's totally trying to bankrupt it. I'm only going to stand slightly corrected.
I
think he's trying to mostly bankrupt it to where, because if someone is suffering, if someone's in pain, if someone is aching, before they totally go down, they're still going to get awful hungry. Well, and guess what? They're liable to, and I think that's the basic goal. Create a problem, but then before the person collapses from the problem, provide a solution to that problem through their movement.
You have to understand what I believe he thinks the top 1% of the wealthy people in this country isn't just about this country, the top 1% on a global scale. Well, that makes somebody making $30,000 a year rich in that standards.
Of course it does.
When he's talking about the rich paying their fair share,
he's talking about the majority of the population of the nation.
That's right. It's not just going after the few at the top. He thinks we should spread America's wealth around the globe.
Well, of course he did. You remember the conversation with Joe the plumber several years ago.
Oh, absolutely.
And he shared, well, we just want to spread that wealth around a little bit. I mean, this is a plumbing business. This isn't some rich man that's lived off the silver spoon and has an oil well in his backyard by any stretch.
Now, I'm not a ringing endorsement of Governor Obama or Governor Romney for the position to replace Obama. However, I think it's a world leap forward that if we don't make and at least buy us some time on the path we're on by replacing Obama in this next election, we're really in trouble with an end of a 4-year term from him. I'm truly, honestly afraid of the president getting another 4 years. I think America will be lost forever.
Well, when he told Russian President Medvedev that he'll be a lot more freer to do things once a second term comes,
that's right.
That scares me.
Think about that. He's restrained right now because he knows he still has to go in front of the public. And if he doesn't have to go in front of the public again, and he's riding his last 4 years, he's set. He can do whatever he wants.
Absolutely.
So this is a fundamental problem, Greg.
It is indeed. We're going to have a lot to talk about as time goes. There's either, depending on your viewpoint, going to be celebrating or crying, and probably a little bit of both somewhere along the line. Hey, we'll continue. The fight continues at libertytownhall.com.
Only a virtuous people are capable of freedom. As nations become corrupt and vicious, they have more need of masters.